The council hall of Varian Prime was not a place for small matters. It was a vast dome of glass and metal, floating above a silver ocean. 100 alien flags hung from its high ceiling, each representing a world, a people, a story. Beneath them, the floor curved in tiers like an ancient theater. Every seat was full. The air was heavy with expectation. Today's meeting was not about trade, not about laws, not about peace treaties. Today was about something older, stranger, and far more dangerous. At the very center stood the beast clans. They were enormous, taller than any human, built of muscle and covered in thick fur that shifted like shadows. Their eyes burned like dim coals, deep set under heavy brows. They did not wear armor. They did not need to. The smallest among them could crush a steel door with bare hands. Their leader, Varric, was even larger. His mane of black and silver fur framed a face both noble and cruel. When he moved, the floor plates trembled. Around him sat the other delegates, scaled beings from the desert worlds, crystalline species that glimmered like frozen stars, insectoid merchants whose eyes moved in every direction. And near the back, the humans. They wore plain uniforms of navy blue, no jewels, no bright colors. They looked almost small among the giants here, but their eyes did not bow. A bell tone rang through the hall. The session began. Varric stepped forward. His claws clicked on the polished floor, the sound sharp in the silence. When he spoke, his voice rolled like distant thunder. "People of the Galactic Council," he began, "there has been a lie so old, so deep, that even its keepers do not know when it began." The hall shifted with quiet murmurs. "A lie? In this place, where power often depended on truth, such words were dangerous." Varric's gaze swept the crowd. He was not looking for support. He was measuring fear. "This lie," he said, "concerns the origin of the humans." The murmurs grew louder now. Some turned to glance at the human delegation. The human ambassador, tall, thin, his hair a streak of gray, sat motionless, his face unreadable. Varric raised one clawed hand for silence. The room obeyed. "You have been told that humans evolved, that they grew from weak, soft creatures into the clever animals they are now, that they made tools, built ships, crossed the stars on their own." He paused, his mouth curled in something between a sneer and a smile. "It is not true." The hall went still. No one moved, no one whispered. The words hung in the air like the moment before a blade falls. Varric's voice deepened. "Humans were made, grown, designed, by us." Gasps broke the silence. Crystalline beams flashed in alarm, insectoid antennae twitched. The scaled diplomats hissed to one another in their native tongue. The human delegation did not react, not yet. Varric took another step forward. "Long before they had ships, before they had fire, before they even had language, we shaped them. We gave them strong hands for work, quick minds for learning, and a hunger to serve. They were ours, our servants, our creation." He let the words sink in, then added, "And then they ran. They ran into the dark, and they forgot who made them." A soft voice from the council benches spoke. "That is a serious claim, Lord Varric. Do you have proof?" Varric turned toward the speaker, a slim, golden-skinned alien named Selvra, known for her skill in diplomacy. "Proof?" Varric sighed. "Yes, records from our breeding halls. Genetic markers hidden deep in their code. Marks no evolution could leave. We have the bones of their first generations, still buried in the salt caverns of our homeworld." He leaned forward slightly, and though his words were aimed at the council, his eyes locked on the human ambassador. "You are not a people," Varric said softly, almost kindly. "You are a project." It was then that all eyes turned to the human delegation. Every other species seemed to wait for an outburst: anger, denial, protest. But the ambassador, Did not rise, did not shout. Instead, he stood slowly, straightened his dark jacket, and walked toward the speaking platform. His footsteps were quiet, but in the tense air, they sounded like hammer blows. He faced Varric across the wide space. The beast was a wall of muscle and menace. The human was a narrow silhouette, a shadow against the brightness of the hall. When the ambassador finally spoke, his voice was calm. Too calm. "If you made us," he said, "then answer one question." Varric's ears twitched. The other council members leaned forward. A single question could not change the facts. Yet the way the human said it, the way he let the words breathe, made even the air seem to wait. The ambassador took one step closer. "If you made us," he said again, "why do we dream of things you've never seen?" The hall was silent. The question did not strike like a weapon. It sank like a stone into deep water. Varric frowned. His mouth opened, but no sound came. Around the chamber, faces shifted. Confusion, curiosity, unease. "Dreams?" Varric said at last. "A trick of the mind." "A storm in the skull." The human smiled, just slightly. "Then tell me," he said, "why do we dream of stars your maps have never shown? Of creatures your worlds have never birthed? Of wars older than your oldest memory? Tell me why a child from Earth can describe in detail a sky with 3 suns, when such a sky does not exist in our space." A murmur began in the council, low and rising. Aliens exchanged glances, some leaning toward humans, some toward beasts. Something in the room had shifted. Varric's claws tapped against the floor. The sound was restless now. The human did not press further. He simply turned and walked back to his seat, leaving the question behind him like a quiet flame. The council bell rang again, a sign the session was still in order, but the tension did not ease. It had only begun. In the high seats, an old historian from the Freyland species whispered to his aide. "I have seen such dreams recorded before," he said. "In the archives, long before the beasts claimed to have walked upright." Down below, the human ambassador sat, eyes forward, waiting for the next move. The beasts had made their claim. The humans had answered with a question. And somewhere in that silent space between them, the first crack in the story had begun to show. The great hall of Varian Prime was still thick with tension from the previous session. The claim made by the beast clans that humans were not born but made had shaken the Galactic Council to its core. The human ambassador's quiet but sharp question had left a gap in the room, like the calm after a storm. Now, the council gathered again, this time in a smaller chamber. It was a place where ideas could be exchanged more freely, away from the eyes of hundreds of delegates. The humans and beasts were still present, but the mood was quieter, heavier. The human ambassador, named Marcus, sat across from Varric, the beast leader. Marcus's face was calm, but his eyes held a quiet fire. Varric's gaze was sharp, like a predator ready to strike. Marcus broke the silence. "Lord Varric," he began, "you say you made us. You say we were created to serve. But you have not answered my question." Varric's thick brows furrowed. "Which question?" he asked, though he already knew. Marcus leaned forward. "If you made us, then why do we dream of things you have never seen?" The room grew silent again. Varric's claws drummed on the table. "Dreams," he said slowly, "are just tricks of the mind. Memories mixed with noise." Marcus shook his head. "Not all dreams are like that. Some dreams carry meaning. They show us things beyond our experience, things we cannot explain." Around them, other council members watched closely. The crystalline species tilted their heads. The insectoid merchants blinked their many eyes. All were curious, even skeptical. Marcus continued, his voice steady. "Humans have dreams of stars with 3 suns. We have dreams of creatures we have never seen. We dream of wars that are older than the memory of your oldest elders." Varric growled softly, a warning. "That is impossible." But it is true, Marcus said. We have memories in our dreams that are not from this galaxy. We see places no map has ever shown. Suddenly, a voice from the crowd interrupted. It was Selvra, the golden-skinned diplomat from the desert world of Zira. Ambassador Marcus. She said politely, "How can you prove that your dreams are more than just imagination? How can you convince us that they mean something real?" Marcus smiled faintly. "That is why I ask you, not just to believe my words, but to listen to what we have found." He signaled to his aides, who stepped forward carrying small devices. On the devices, images flickered to life, sketches, recordings, and symbols that looked ancient yet strangely familiar. "These," Marcus explained, "are drawings made by children on Earth, long before our modern history began. They show stars with 3 suns, and beasts unlike any known species." The room looked closer. The insectoid merchants clicked their mandibles. The crystalline beings examined the symbols carefully. Varuk's voice was low but sharp. "Forgery." "Tricks." Marcus shook his head again. "These were not made to deceive. They were found in caves, untouched by time. Our children have always dreamed of the unknown." An elder from the Freyland species, the historian who had spoken in the last session, stepped forward. "I have studied these dreams," he said softly, "and I agree with Ambassador Marcus. They do not come from imagination alone." The council murmured, "Where do they come from then?" Someone asked. Marcus took a deep breath. "We believe our dreams are echoes of an older past. A past before the beasts claimed to have made us. A past lost in time." The council debated quietly. Some questioned the truth. Others wondered what this meant for their understanding of history. Varuk suddenly slammed his claw on the table, silencing the room. "This talk of dreams and old pasts is dangerous. It threatens the peace of the council." Marcus stood. "We do not want war," he said firmly. "We want the truth." The hall was silent again. The air felt heavy, as if the weight of history pressed down on them all. Then, from the back of the room, a young human aide stepped forward. "We found something else," she said, holding up a small glowing cube. "What is that?" Varuk asked suspiciously. "It is a data archive," she said, "from a planet called Neres. It shows histories older than your own records. It mentions humans as warriors and explorers long before the beasts existed." The council gasped. Varuk's eyes narrowed. "This is impossible. You must be mistaken." Marcus shook his head. "We are not. We want to share this evidence. We want to open the truth for all." The chamber filled with whispers. Some voices called for peace, others for investigation, and some for silence. The human ambassador looked at Varuk. "Are you ready to face the truth, Lord Varuk? Or will you hide behind lies forever?" Varuk's face hardened, but he said nothing. The meeting ended with no clear answer, but with more questions than before. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. Somewhere between the light and the dark, the past waited to be found. The Galactic Council was restless. The last meeting had left the hall filled with whispers and uneasy glances. The claim by the beast clans that they had created humans had sparked shock and disbelief. Yet, the humans had pushed back, presenting strange evidence, ancient drawings, forgotten histories, and the mysterious data archive from Neres. All hinted that the story of humanity was far older and deeper than anyone had imagined. But the council needed answers. Some members called for calm and patience. Others demanded proof. Among the council members, a small group gathered quietly away from the main chamber. They were historians, archivists, and scholars, not warriors or politicians. They were the keepers of truth, or at least they tried to be. One of these scholars was Haran, an elder from the Freyland species. He had pale silver skin with eyes that glowed faintly in the dim light. His years of research had taken him to forgotten corners of the galaxy, to planets lost to time and ruins buried beneath deserts. When the council met, Harin's voice was soft but firm. "We cannot ignore the evidence presented," Harin said, speaking to a small circle of fellow historians in the quiet library beneath the council halls. "There are records hidden from common knowledge that tell a different story. A story that predates the beast's claims." Across the table, a young alien named Vesa, from the crystalline world of Shalker, looked uneasy. "Are you suggesting the beasts lie?" she asked cautiously. "They are powerful. If they say they made humans, it must be true." Harin shook his head slowly. "Power does not always mean truth," he replied. "I have found star maps, carvings, and writings from worlds untouched by the beasts. They show humans in places and times the beasts cannot explain." He opened a thin, ancient book. The pages were fragile, etched with symbols older than most species' histories. "Here," Harin said, pointing to a faded illustration. "This depicts a battle between humans and a race called the Titans. The beasts are nowhere in sight. The date is older than any beast record." Vesa frowned. "Could it be a mistake? A forgery?" Harin's eyes glimmered. "No, these carvings were discovered on multiple planets, thousands of light years apart. The stories match. Humans were warriors long before the beasts appeared." Vesa leaned back, thinking. Meanwhile, in another part of the council complex, Marcus, the human ambassador, prepared for the next session. He knew the beasts would not give up easily. Their pride and power were at stake. But Marcus also knew that the truth, no matter how old or hidden, was worth fighting for. The council session began again, this time more tense than ever. The beast leader Varuk stood tall, his fur bristling. "You seek to rewrite history." Varuk growled. "You question our memory and dishonor our legacy." Marcus stepped forward calmly. "We seek only truth," Marcus said. "History is not owned by one race. It belongs to all who remember." Varuk sneered. "Then prove it. Bring your so-called proof before us." At that moment, a messenger arrived with a sealed crate. The seal bore the mark of the Freyland historians. Marcus opened the crate, revealing scrolls, tablets, and data chips. The council leaned in as Marcus presented the findings. These artifacts were recovered from a forgotten planet named Alther. Marcus explained. They contain records of humans fighting beside Titans in a war against the beast's ancestors. The hall was silent, save for the quiet hum of the devices. Varuk's eyes narrowed. "This is fabrication. Your historians conspire to discredit us." Harin stepped forward. "I swear on my honor," he said. "These are genuine. The truth has been buried, but it cannot stay hidden." The council debated fiercely. Some members sided with the beasts, unwilling to believe their story was false. Others supported the humans and the Freyland scholars. As the session ended, a decision was made. A joint expedition would be sent to Alther to investigate the ruins and verify the evidence. Marcus, Varuk, Harin, and a small team of scientists and soldiers prepared for the journey. The tension between them was thick, but the chance to uncover the truth was worth the risk. The journey to Alther took days. The team traveled through asteroid fields and nebula clouds until they reached the planet's surface, a barren world of jagged rocks and ancient ruins. They landed near a massive stone structure half buried in the sand. The carvings on the walls told stories of great battles, mighty warriors, and strange creatures. Marcus traced his fingers over the symbols. "This is our past," he whispered. Suddenly, sensors detected movement nearby. Shadows shifted in the ruins. The team readied their weapons. Out of the darkness came a small group of beast scouts, their eyes wary but curious. Varuk stepped forward, raising his hand. "We are here to seek the truth," he said, "not to fight." The scouts nodded, lowering their weapons. Together, the humans and beasts entered the ruins. Inside, they discovered chambers filled with holographic records, paintings, and weapons unlike any known. One chamber held a massive mural depicting humans and titans fighting side by side against monstrous beasts. The images glowed faintly, powered by ancient technology. Marcus studied the mural. "This is the story the beasts tried to hide," he said. "We were never their creation. We were their enemies and allies long before." Varrock stared at the mural, his expression unreadable. The explorers spent days uncovering the secrets of Althor. Each discovery added weight to the growing truth. When they returned to the council, the evidence was undeniable. The Beast Clan's claim had been shattered. The true history of humanity was older, richer, and more complex than anyone had believed. With truth came new questions. Who were the Titans? What had happened to them? And what other secrets did the galaxy hold? The small ship slid silently through the dark void. Outside the viewport, stars blinked like distant candles in the endless night. Inside, the air was tense. The human ambassador Marcus, the beast leader Varrock, and a handful of others sat quietly. They were headed toward a place long forgotten, a secret archive station buried near the edge of known space. This place was called the Forbidden Archive. It was a relic from a time when no one trusted anyone. A place built to hide dangerous knowledge, knowledge so powerful, it could change everything. For centuries, it had been sealed, lost to time and war. Many believed it was just a myth. But the recent discoveries from Althor and the growing doubts about the Beast Clan's claim had made one thing clear: to find the truth, they must risk everything. The ship's computer beeped softly. They were approaching the archive. The massive station hung in space like a dead star, covered in rust and ice. It was shaped like a giant spider, long arms stretching into the void, connected by a thick central hub. The station was dark, its lights off, its systems silent. Marcus stared out the window. "This place is old, older than most of our records." Varrock's deep voice answered him, "Dangerous old. They say many who enter never return." Marcus swallowed. "We have to try." The crew prepared the landing gear. The ship docked with a low thud, sending a small shiver through the metal floor. They suited up and moved into the airlock. The doors hissed open, revealing a dark corridor. The walls were scratched and scarred. Faded signs warned of radiation and traps. Marcus led the way, holding a small lantern. The others followed closely, scientists, soldiers, and diplomats from several species. The tension was thick, but so was the hope. They entered the main archive chamber. It was huge, a dome filled with rows of glowing data crystals, holographic displays, and stacks of ancient books. Dust floated in the air, catching the faint light like tiny stars. Marcus's hand brushed over a control panel. The lights flickered on, and the station hummed to life. Suddenly, alarms blared. Red lights flashed. "Trap!" shouted one of the soldiers. Someone set a defense system. The group scattered. Marcus ducked behind a console. Varrock roared and pushed a heavy table toward a doorway. The alarms stopped as suddenly as they began. The room fell silent again. Marcus took a deep breath. "We have to find the records fast." They split into teams, searching the archives for anything that could reveal the true history of humans and beasts. Hours passed. The air grew stale. But then, in a hidden corner, a scientist found a sealed chamber. The door was covered in strange symbols, warnings in languages no one knew. Marcus touched the panel. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, they found walls covered with murals and carvings. Images told stories of battles, alliances, and betrayals. One mural showed humans standing tall, fighting beside creatures called the Titans, giant beings of light and power. The beasts were nowhere in sight. Another carving showed humans captured and experimented on by shadowy figures. A voice echoed softly in the chamber, the archive's automated system awakening. "Data log 2398. The truth must remain hidden." Marcus activated the holographic recorder. Images and words appeared in the air. The recording told of a time when the galaxy was ruled by the Titans. They were mighty and wise, creators of many species. The beasts had once been a wild race, dangerous and cruel. They had tried to challenge the Titans but were defeated and driven away. The humans, it said, were not created by the beasts. They were descendants of the Titans' experiments, warriors, designed to fight against the beasts and protect the galaxy. But the Titans vanished suddenly. Their fate was unknown. The beasts, left alone, had hunted the humans. They captured some and bred them in secret, hoping to control their power. Marcus looked at Varuk. The beast's eyes were wide with shock. "This changes everything," Marcus said. Varuk's voice was low and uncertain. "We were afraid, not creators but hunters." Suddenly, the chamber trembled. The station's power faltered. "Emergency shutdown in 10 minutes, a robotic voice warned. The group rushed to download the data. Marcus grabbed the crystals and data chips. As they fled the archive, they heard strange sounds, echoes of the past. Warnings left by the Titans. Back on their ship, Marcus stared at the data. It told a story of fear, power, and lies. The beasts had lied about humanity's origin to hide their shame. But the truth was out now. A truth that could change the galaxy forever. Marcus spoke to the team. "We must bring this to the council. They need to know." Varuk nodded slowly and faced the consequences. The ship jumped to light speed, carrying with it the weight of history and the hope of a new future. The Forbidden's archive had revealed its secrets. Now the galaxy would never be the same. The Galactic Council Hall was darker than usual. Shadows stretched across the high ceilings, and the air felt thick with tension. The latest truth from the Forbidden's archive weighed heavily on everyone present. Some sat with faces pale and tight. Others clenched their fists in anger. At the center of it all stood Marcus, the human ambassador. His calm face hid a storm of emotions inside. He had carried the weight of the Forbidden's knowledge through endless stars and dangerous space. Now it was time to bring the truth to light. The hall was packed. Representatives from dozens of worlds waited silently. Whispers buzzed like electric currents through the crowd. Many wanted answers. Many feared them. Marcus stepped forward, his voice steady and strong. "Members of the Galactic Council," he began, "we have found the truth about the origin of humanity. The story the Beast Clans told us is false." The hall shifted. Varuk, the towering beast leader, stepped beside Marcus. His eyes were cold but restless. "False?" Varuk growled. "You call our history lies?" Marcus nodded. "Yes, we have proof." He signaled his aides. Screens lit up around the hall, displaying images, carvings, and holograms from the Forbidden's archive. The murals showed humans fighting alongside Titans, giant beings of light and power, against the beasts. Ancestors. The recordings told a story of fear and hunting, not creation. The crowd gasped. Many were stunned into silence. Some gasped in disbelief. Varuk's roar cut through the silence. "Fabrication!" he shouted. "These are forgeries. Lies designed to destroy our honor." Marcus met his gaze without flinching. "Why would we create lies that hurt us? We have no reason to hide the truth. We want peace. We want justice." Varuk's claws hit the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. "You accuse us of shame? We created your kind. We made you to serve us. You are our property." Marcus took a step forward. "We are not your property," he said firmly. "We are free beings. We carry memories of a time before you ever existed." Varuk's eyes narrowed. He stepped closer, the room shrinking around their confrontation. "If you are not our creation, then who are you?" Varuk demanded. "Who gave you life?" Marcus looked around the council chamber. His voice lowered but grew stronger. "The Titans, they made us, yes, but they were not gods. They were warriors who fought to protect the galaxy. When the Titans vanished, you hunted us out of fear. You tried to control what you did not understand. A silence fell. The council members stared, some in shock, others in thought. Varroc's body tensed. Then something unexpected happened. His great shoulders slumped slightly. A long pause filled the room. Then, a soft voice interrupted the silence. An elder beast, his fur streaked with white, stepped forward. His name was Korak. We were afraid, Korak said quietly. We did not make the humans, we found them. We feared their power and tried to cage it. His words spread through the hall like a slow fire. Many eyes widened. Some beast warriors looked away, ashamed. Marcus nodded. This is the truth we have searched for, he said. The truth that can heal old wounds. But not all were ready to accept it. A voice shouted from the back. Lies! Cried a reptilian delegate. This is chaos. We must punish those who spread falsehoods. The room erupted into shouting. Security moved quickly to restore order. Marcus raised his hands. Peace, he commanded. The past cannot be changed. But we can choose our future. Varroc stepped back, his face a mask of pride and pain. We will not forget this day, he said, but we will consider what it means. The council agreed to form a new committee, made up of humans, beasts, and others to explore the history and build a future of trust. As the meeting closed, Marcus looked to Varroc. This is just the beginning, he said. Together we will write a new story. Varroc nodded slowly. The council chamber was filled with a heavy silence. The events of the last days had shaken everyone to their core. The truth uncovered at the Forbidden's archive had torn apart old stories and challenged ancient pride. Now it was time for the final reckoning. Marcus, the human ambassador, stood at the center of the chamber, his eyes steady and clear. Around him were representatives of many worlds. The beast leader, Varroc, sat quietly on the other side. His fur was no longer raised in anger, but heavy with thought. The great beast elder, Korak, was near him, old and worn but truthful. The air was thick with the weight of history, but also with the hope of a new beginning. Marcus took a deep breath. For too long, he began, the galaxy has lived with half-truths, stories told to hide fear and shame. Today, I will tell you what we have learned, the full story. Not just as humans, but as beings who want peace. He paused. The chamber was still, every eye locked on him. We are not the creation of the beasts. We never were. We are descendants of the Titans, powerful warriors who once protected the galaxy from darkness. He gestured to the holograms still glowing around. Them, the Titans, disappeared long ago. Their fate is unknown. But they left behind their greatest gift, us. The council listened, some faces shocked, others thoughtful. Marcus continued. When the Titans vanished, the beast's ancestors saw us as threats. They hunted us, captured us, and tried to control us through breeding. We were caged, made servants, kept in the dark. Varroc's eyes lowered. He spoke quietly. It is true, we were afraid. We tried to hold on to power by holding on to you. The chamber was silent again. Marcus looked directly at Varroc. But we escaped, we fought, we grew strong. We crossed the stars and made our own way. He stepped forward, raising his voice. We are free, we are not property or servants. We are beings with dreams, hopes, and histories deeper than anyone knew, the council murmured. The weight of the truth was heavy but undeniable. A new voice rose, a young alien delegate from a distant star system. If this is true, what does it mean for us? For the future? Marcus smiled gently. It means we must learn from the past. It means we must build trust where there was fear. It means no one owns another. It means we stand together as equals. Varroc stood slowly. The room watched him, waiting. He spoke with a voice rough but honest. We beast clans have been proud and fierce. We feared the humans because they reminded us of our failures. But we cannot hide from truth. If the humans are not our creation, then they are our equals, perhaps even our teachers. A soft sound of agreement passed through the hall. Marcus nodded. We do not seek revenge or dominance. We seek peace. Together, we can face the galaxies, dangers and mysteries. The council voted to form a new alliance, one based on truth and respect. Outside the chamber, stars glittered cold and silent. But inside, a new light had been born, the light of understanding. As the meeting ended, Marcus looked out the window at the small blue planet called Earth. His voice echoed softly. Our story was never theirs to tell. It is ours written. By dreams, by courage, by hope. And somewhere in the vastness of space, the first true chapter of humanity's history had finally begun.